Welcome to Politics Unplugged. And of course, you know, on Politics Unplugged, we unravel, and unplug conversations in the politics sector, governance from grassroots to federal. Today, I'm live here with someone I highly respect, someone I cherish so much, someone who's behind this inspiration, Politics Unplugged with Beth and Sarah. I'm here with the Executive Chairman, the newly elect, former Vice Chairman of the Odiolowo Local Government Council, the person of Honorable Seyi Jakande. Good evening, sir. Thank you for having me.
Good evening, Blessing.
Okay, sir. This is Politics Unplugged with Beth and Sarah. And on this show, we talk about politics. So we're going to take you back to your journey. Let's talk about how your journey began as a politician.
That's the same way, just asking. I think I was born into politics. You know, grew up knowing politics. And consider my father was a politician, you know, and all his ways and practice, especially even in his private, you know, growing up in a private family life, was also a lot of politics. There was a lot of bureaucracies, you know, and a lot of policy decisions that has to do with the family. So I would say that it started from birth.
Okay. Oh, yes, we know your background and the person of our father, one who has left a legacy, Jakande. We know all about that. But would you say that the lifestyle, the fun and everything, the glam, the money, was that what triggered you? Because a lot of perception. I used to have my own perception, but thanks to campaigns and everything that were exposed now, my perceptions are different. But there are lots of people out there whose perceptions still remain the same. Do you think that you got interested in politics because of the glam, because of the money involved in politics? Is that what you would say? Because you saw your father lived a life, lived a legacy. Even after his death, his legacy still live on. What are those things that you think made you triggered and said you wanted to be a politician?
Well, to start with, the philosophy of my late dad as regards politics is that of service. It's service to humanity. And that is the, I would say that is the drive behind my own interest. You know, having passion, looking at his impact, you know, how he's been able to, you know, change a lot of narratives in terms of his style of governance, you know, in terms of the policies that he has actually implemented all over the time that he has opportunity to be in charge as either governor or a federal minister of Nigeria. So I would say that my interest and passion for politics is that of service, you know, and I really don't see any other material interest, you know, or whatever you term as material interest. I really don't see that as things that, you know, things that actually should influence people, even though that looks like a norm, you know. But, you know, when you look at people that have actually served well, when we talk about leaving legacies, you know, having an impactful governance, you know, and actually doing the right thing, what you're actually expected to do, you know, you agree with me that you should actually come from people that feel that, you know, whatever you do and decisions and policies that you take in public office, you know, should actually influence people's life, you know, change their life, and of course, create an enabling environment, you know, where people can actually, you know, live together and sustain together.
Okay, thank you so much for that response. So moving forward, you mentioned something about legacy. And of course, your father was a man that left a lot of legacy. You know, even like a young child could literally talk about who Lateef Jakande was, right? So, and what legacy would you think you want to leave as a politician?
Well, the legacy I want to leave that I believe should be, you know, what should be, you know, the target of any public office holder is that of, you know, selfless public service. Why one is able to, why every decision, you know, you've taken, you make sure those decisions are fair, they're just, and they're, of course, for the good number of people within your immediate community or the people that you do actually represent.
Okay. All right, sir. I want to take you back to. So the thing is, you said, where were the youth? I kind of said something and you felt like maybe I was saying, you people are not youth. That wasn't what I meant. But you said something that really got striking. And of course, in the campaign ground, I saw those women, the grassroots governance. I saw a lot of women. I saw a lot of people. I didn't see more like those Gen Zs, the posh girls and boys. They weren't so much at the campaigns ground, I would say. And then you responded like,
You didn't say what?
like I didn't like in regards to what I want to ask, do you think that the youth are not as much as involved in politics as they ought to be?
Yeah, I did understand the question you asked.
Okay.
And, I actually responded to you in parables at that time. And what I meant is that, you see, as a phrase that says, power is not served a la carte, right? You need to get involved. We need to have, the youth. The fact that you want a youth in governance, or we want women in governance, or we want certain percentage of women to be in government. But they're not just going to come to you sitting at home. You need to participate. You need to get involved. So we need all of those sectors. The youth, the women, we need to start to engage. We need to see ourselves, not as spectators, but as people that are actually participating. So when you look at the percentage of youths or women, that actually contribute, to the voting basket, you agree with me that it's very extremely inconsequential with the percentage of population of the youth that we do have, and that same goes for women as well. So we need to start to engage ourselves to see that aspect, of women. We just don't stay on the side of, complaining or wishing that things just come to a particular, particular sector, a particular age group, But those, seeing ourselves as real participants, registering to vote, and ensuring that at every stage, of the democratic process, you are actively involved, and that way you are rest assured, that you can have a controlling power. With the percentage of youth we have in this country, there's no way, if you have all the youth on the basket of registered voters of INEC, they have that voice, to make a change, to make a control, or to make a decisive decision on which way the ballot should go.
Okay, thank you very much. So, sir, moving forward, you said being voting, but do you think that just being a voter is what decides a good government? Like, how do you think they can be more participants in the democratic process? Are there processes that are involved? If, for instance, I, for one, I want to be a politician, how do you think that starts? Is it just by coming to vote and wanting a good government? Is there a way that the youth can become more participants in what happens in their society, in their communities, in the country, both federal and grassroots?
Okay, so I didn't just say going to vote. I did say that they have to be involved in the democratic process.
Yeah, I got you.
And that takes, certain steps from one step to the other. Of course, constitutionally, with the INEC rules, as it stands today, there are no independent candidates, and that means that you must actually belong to one political party or the other, and you have the freedom to even create your own political party if you so desires. I know at the time there's a YPP, a Young Progressive Party, and all of that. You can decide to create a Women's Progressive Party. Those are allowed. But you must actually have that platform, to participate, in any of those democratic processes and take it to that, and then have people vote for you. So it's not just about voting. It's about the fact that getting involved in all of those political party processes and then produce, who you want to lead. Basically, it's just a way of ensuring that at every political decision that's been taken, you have a voice. These decisions are collectively taken, and everybody must have aligned and agreed with a particular candidate, and decide that this is the way we want the country to actually move forward.
Wow, insightful. Thank you so much. So now I've taken you back and I want to take you forward. you became the newly elect, you won, you campaign and all that. So how did that feel? Because you had served for 8 years and serving as the vice chairman and now you're the executive chairman. Your few days as the executive chairman, would you tell us your feelings, how it's feeling? Because I know you wanted to win, but is it as rosy as we all think that it is?
First of all, thank you for those nice comments. But the reality is that every contestant, I always tell people, when it comes to political aspiration, nobody actually aspires to lose. Every aspirant, every aspiration is, with a lot of big wishes and prayers to actually become successful. So, but of course, there can only be one winner, and for me, I think it's a journey that started way back. I think it's a journey that was focused. It's a journey that I feel that, of course, I was determined to get it, based on the fact that it's a government. We've been able to do a lot. We're able to. I'm coming from an administration that was serving at that time, and we've been able to actually put so much together in 8 years. And I feel that it would actually be very responsible, of me, having been a second in command of that administration, to just leave the field, and let all that we have actually achieved in all those 8 years go to waste. I believe having a clear understanding of all that we've been able to achieve in that 8 years, I believe that the next step to take, is to show a lot of responsibility, by taking up that challenge to ensure that one, we participate fully, ensure that we get victory, and of course, for the main purpose that we're able to sustain all that we've been able to achieve in the past 8 years, so that we can make a progressive growth. We can innovate, based on the foundation that we have actually built, safely. So it takes somebody that has that insight understanding, of how all of those things were achieved, for you to be able to sustain those things. How we have been able to initiate, plan, so I was all part of those process, to see those programs come to daylight.
Yeah.
So it's more than very easy for me. For now, I sit down comfortably on the seat, looking back, trying to, and having a very clear vision of how we're going to proceed forward, because all that I need to protect and sustain are things that we have actually built together with the outgoing chairman, with the previous government. So it's easy for me to consolidate. It's an engineer. It's a case of an engineer who has constructed or did the foundation of the building. We can use the building, for example. We can't tell what we have in the foundation of this building if you are not the engineer.
Exactly.
If you have not participated how that was done. But having participated in the whole of, from the raw stage to where we are and all of that. So you can imagine, the kind of comfort and state, of course, I should be. Not of that of, unnecessary excitement, but of the fact of the comfort, and the belief that we are in a very safe place. The community is stable, and we can progress, very conveniently, and bring all other of our innovations into limelight. So, and that's why you recall that on the 27th of July, after being sworn in on the Sunday, we moved into office the next day. We very quickly held, of course, a management meeting, just, to interact and get all the books, from the past, update them now so we can move. And the next thing was to have a security meeting, which is just in itself is also to climatize with all the security operatives, update on all what needs to be done. Because the bedrock of any society, of any peaceful society is the security network. Is to ensure that the property and lives of people within that community are safe. And that is the only way you can really have a society that will be thriving, in terms of economic goals and infrastructural development. So we have to ensure, that our community continues to remain safe and stable, and that is one of the first few things we did on getting to the office.
All right, thank you so much, sir. So I must acknowledge the fact that I appreciate your teamwork with the previous government. So we cannot separate you from the previous administration. You were a part of the administration. And so what should we look out differently from your administration? What's that one thing that you're looking to transform? Because you did a lot of work alongside with the past chairman. You've done a lot of things, the health center, educational sector, everything. And it seems like the place is becoming a perfect place. So what should we look out for differently in this administration?
So government is a continuum, it is expected, just like I said, that, that it's, for me, there's no competition. What is important is that we do what is right, we do what is needed, and we do what has to be done. You understand? Fulfill all the needs of the people. That is what is very, very important. And as we progress and do all of that, in all honesty, I believe that I've understudied all our needs. I didn't just go out and decide to put my hat in the ring and contest. I actually did, my homework, anticipated where we're going to stop, having known the end of the tenure date, anticipated the kind of project that we're executing at that time. I knew exactly where this administration was going to put a hand to it. So I've designed and anchored all my campaign programs and the agenda for this government on the broad line of the EWA, the EWA agenda, which is spelled HEWA. And this is where moving forward, this is the framework, right, of where this administration will start, to tailor development of this community. EWA stands, the H in EWA, stands for health and environment, where the E stands for education empowerment, W for works and security, and the A is for agriculture, tourism, and sports. So with all of this agenda, if you have to break it down, you see that it covers across all sectors, of the economy of Odiolowo. And we have programs under all of these items, where we are going to start to drive all of this simultaneous. And we have started. We started with the just a week. We kicked off and started and launched the Light Up Odiolowo, putting solar lights across dark spots of Odiolowo. We put a step forward by adding the CCTV camera to ensure that, when the police surveillance are not right on the spot, we can have cameras that can actually record events of all of those things, especially in the dark hours. So we continue to move all of that, going to the education, going to infrastructure development, and a whole lot of things that we're going to start to unveil, in the next coming days.
All right, thank you so much. So I think my second to the final question, I think grassroots is a bit tough, and the kind of people you have to deal with and all that. Judging by a kind of soft chairman like you seem very soft and soft-spoken and all that. So how do you think you're going to be able to handle this tough people, tough community, tough individuals?
Well, so governance is not a boxing show. It takes a lot of intelligence. It takes a lot of knowing what you know what to do. And when you talk about being soft, I think I'm actually I would say I think I'm actually other than my late dad. I think he's a softer person. I think he's more quiet and gentle. And then at the end of the day, his nickname was Action Man. So it's not all about the noise, right? You can actually deliver and work quietly. All it takes is for you to be prepared, for you to know what you want to do. Have a clear vision, and then you pursue it to the later.
Thank you so much. So what are your final words? I'm done.
Well, my final word is just that...
who are you most grateful for? Who are you thankful for in your career thus far, the election, the winning, and everything?
Of course, I'm most grateful, to my Creator, God Almighty. We thank God, the giver of life, that we're here today. And then for all possibilities of any woman, we must give credit, because for whatever you can actually attain in life, you must actually be alive, and there's only one person that gives us life, the giver of life, and that is God Almighty. So I'm grateful, I'm thankful, that He has sustained me and sustained my family, and that He has actually made, today possible. We pray that He continue to, grant us so many, many more and give us all the wisdom. And of course, the political leadership of my community, You know, we look at, I will start with my immediate predecessor in office, Honorable Odiolowo Ajala. You know, my boss, you know, is a former chairman, but of course, he's still my boss.
Yeah, right.
You know, so I'm grateful that he gave me that opportunity, you know, to work with him twice as vice chairman, and also for the fact that, you know, he allowed that government of his, you know, to actually do monumental achievements, you know, where we're able to use as a symbol or the bedrock of our campaign, you know, and you know, because without, I always tell people, you know, the head is very key, you know, in the whole of your body system.
Yeah.
The most important part of your body system is the head. Your people don't know, you know, take off any part of your body, you are fine,
Yeah, right.
you know, but take out the head, you know, that's the end of it, you know, and that's why, you know, when you talk about disabilities, you know, they say there's strength and power in disability, right? If you have a single hand, a single eye, a single leg, you know, there's so many things you can achieve. You have Paralympics, you can go as much as going to Olympics and all of that. But there's no Paralympics for people that have problem with their head.
Yeah, right.
You know, they're only in one place, you know. So the head is very, very key in everything that we did. So he provided leadership, and that is why, you know, as we move forward, we have put all that we have to do. You know, all we have to do is for us to sustain that leadership area that he has created, that platform, and continue to ensure, you know, that we maintain that standard, you know, that we have actually established in this community, you know, and of course, you know, the bar has been set. You know, continue to take it higher.
All right. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
And it's an honor to be interviewing you on Politics Unplugged's Blessing Sarah. All right, people, you've heard from the horse's mouth. He's had a lot to say. I don't know what you learned from this, but one of my takeouts is that he said politics isn't about strength, it's about intelligence. I hope you learned something. He's been able to tell us how you can be a participant to the governance, grassroots to federal, and whatever. This is Politics Unplugged with Blessing Sarah. I hope you find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Blessing Onyekachi. Thank you for watching. Till I come your way next time. Bye.